Yeah. All right. So I hope you had a good break. We're just going to continue on with the pre-listing package or the trifold brochure that you're going to send in advance for your seller appointments with a letter confirming the appointment. Just a company letterhead that just says where, when, time sort of thing. And you're going to send that off. But let's continue to talk. I think most of the ingredients I'm giving you here would be for a booklet or a portfolio, because the trifold brochure, I have a sample for you on our website. So let's just quickly turn to our weekly activities page at the end of lesson 3. And let me know, first let me know how many items are on there for you to complete by next week.
12.
The last page of the lesson, yes? And there's a cardboard or heavy stock paper separating the lessons, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, what page is it?
318.
Lesson 3-18. And how many items are on there?
12.
12.
Make a 13. Okay, put 13, put a box. And now, before you do, I probably didn't need to do that, but there's one of the items in there says something about create a pre-listing brochure and bring it to class next week. Rough draft, okay?
Yes.
What number is that one?
6.
Okay, so it's up to you if you want to put for 13, that it already says make one, even a rough draft. And for 14, print off the sample on the website as well. And bring it, just in case.
14 or 14?
Okay. Whatever, whatever's the last one. You know,
Sorry, print out the sample for
from the website. Okay? And what number was the pre-list again?
6.
6. So you tie them together, right? So you got to make your own, even if it's just on a piece of paper and you wrote it by hand, and print off the sample as well. And what I want you to do is when you come in next week, I want you to put your pre-list sample with our sample. Just put it up on the front table. I just want to see how your progress is going. Sounds good?
Yes.
Okay. So again, if there's any of you that have not looked at your weekly review as the weeks have gone already, that's going to be a concern for you, and then you're going to feel a little strange again next week where we say, okay, put that up there, and you're, oh, I forgot. If you keep saying, I forget, you can literally throw thousands of dollars away from this in this career, literally. So don't forget, okay? So bring it in, and if you want to make a booklet or a portfolio and you put a little extra effort into it, then bring that in as well. Sounds good? Okay. So let's go to the next component, which is about your company. And your company. Now, you know what? I'm just thinking. Yeah, let me just finish this here. Okay, so the next component here is to brag about your company. You're kind of bragging about yourself with the first component in the booklet or the portfolio. In the brochure, I'm going to show you how you'll still have a bio and some hobbies and a little bit about your company and a little bit about the board and a little bit about the real estate council and some questions to ask a realtor. We'll get into that after I finish with the portfolio and the booklet stuff, okay? So let me just put them up for you and then I'll chat about them, move out of the way a little bit. So in the, for the company part, you want to see if the company has a mission statement. So check with your broker, check with Peter, and see if there is one. If there isn't, maybe you guys as a group can come up with one. A lot of companies have mission statements. Company photo is good to show. It shows a strength when there's a number of realtors all working together in one office, let's say. Office locations, you could say, you know, if it's this company, you can say we're in Edmonton and we're in Calgary, and you know, wherever you're going to be soon, you can put that in. If you only have one little office somewhere, you may not put in until it's a strength. So remember, we're only putting in our strengths for ourselves and our business, not anything that may come across as a weakness. Fair enough? Put in your market share. Now your market share doesn't have to be just the company market share. It could also be your personal GeoFarm area market share for you personally. And if you're starting to get 20% of a GeoFarm area, boy, it'd sure be good for everybody in that neighborhood to know that, yes?
Yes.
And of course, company history. Remember, make a note, you're just putting in your strengths. So if anything's brand new, you wouldn't be putting all that in, okay? Anything about you and your company should be told in advance by a portfolio, a booklet, or a trifold brochure. If you do this with all the other little things I've taught so far, with the little things I'm going to continue to teach, you're going to make easily a 6-figure income but even a high six-figure income. There is the odd realtor that's just working by themselves that even has done a seven-figure income. Now, there's lots of team realtors and development companies and realtors that have made way more than that, sure. But let's just go back to us working with the real estate board, through the real estate board, to try to sell houses. And I'm trying to show you how to do 50 deals a year, working 40 hours a week or less. And if an end is worth 8 to 10 grand, 8,000 times 50 is what? $400,000. But you can't do that without doing all these little things. You don't have to as much do all the little things. You have to have all the little things in place. In other words, build your business. Remember I said that little story, I think, in week 1? Like your manual is, look at it, it's like this thick, right? It's this thick. Imagine if you got into real estate, you got licensed, and then you come across, let's say it was set up different, where you could buy into a franchise. You know how people can buy McDonald's restaurants or A&Ws and that kind of thing. Just imagine for a second. And you pay thousands of dollars and you have somebody come in, like me, and teach you how to be successful, but gets you to sign an agreement saying, for you to get this manual and for you to be able to use everything to be successful, you have to sign a franchise agreement saying you have to do the little things. Otherwise, you break your franchise agreement. So like I said, my cousin got a McDonald's restaurant about 35 years ago, and he had to go to take some courses. They got a manual this thick, and he had to get a building built on land that was owned by McDonald's, but still he got the building built, and he leased from them, I think, so they built it. But he had to make sure that that McDonald's looked exactly the same as what? All the other ones. And the menu was exactly the same as? So he couldn't serve Chinese food, let's say.
Yeah.
Even if you wanted to, if he did. So wouldn't it be great if I could just say to you, you have to do it this way? Because if you had to and you did, I can guarantee you'd do 50 deals a year working 40 hours a week or less. If you did it exact. And yet I still see people, they'll pay me $2,000 for this course and fight me all the way. And they'll even say, oh no, this way is better. And I'll go, well, how many deals have you done in the last 6 months? 2. Well, I guess it's better, huh? You know, like seriously. So it's again those little things that I mentioned, right? So let's talk about the brochure for a second here. So if you turn to the page, you can see a sample of the sample. It's kind of small. So next week when you come, you'll have the bigger version of that. Do you see it there? Yeah. Okay, don't look at the particulars for a second. Just pay attention to me for a moment. And the trifold brochure, you can take some notes on this if you want, but the way it is when you make a trifold brochure, the front page should show who?
You.
It should show the realtor, yes. It should show the realtor. And if you look, you can see that right here on the front. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so look up here instead of at that page. Those of you who are looking at the page, stop. Oh, thank you. Look up here. All right, so you can see the front, and that would be you with your company and maybe your phone number. Make sense?
Yeah.
And when you fold it, when you open it up, is this the next page you see when you open it up? No, it's all this you see. See, that's panel number 1. So panel number 1 will be about, I think that says bio, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Does it say bio? It says
Yes.
a couple other words there. I can't read them, so I have to. Let me see.
Dwayne's bio.
Oh, Dwayne, yeah. So it'd say your name, right? You'd say Peter's bio. So it'd say bio. And then, so what you want to do is come up with something like, you can take my example and just edit it. Wouldn't that be easier for you?
Yeah.
You know, like it says Dwayne did this and that, you can just say Amy did this or that. That's just as simple as that. You don't have to try to think too hard. You can just edit what I'm giving you. It's always easier to edit than to create. So the front page is something like this. The inside panel is your bio. The second panel, it says hobbies and passions, I think. And then just put some hobbies and passions and a couple photos. Panel 3, market share. This should be about your company.
Yeah.
Right here. Company logo, company market share. If you don't have some stats on market share, just put a little bit about the company. Sounds good? And when they go to the back page, you should take what I put here. You'd have to change the first one to the Calgary Real Estate Board, because mine shows the Edmonton Board. Where do you think I got that information, that little blurb here? Where do you think I got that?
Rick.
No, Rica's below
Oh,
that.
sorry,
This is
the,
the Edmonton Real Estate
yeah.
Board. Where do you think I got that?
From their
I went to
website.
their website, and the first sentence, I just went copy paste.
Yeah.
Just said what the Calgary Real Estate Board is. It's a multi-list something, 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 something. Great, that's all you have to do. And then the Real Estate Council, just double check that mine's updated enough that you can use the same one, right? And then you go to the last page, and there's you again. See, right there?
Yeah.
And then 10 questions to ask a realtor before you hire them. So are you gonna print off my sample?
Yes.
Are you gonna put some effort into at least starting yours?
Yes.
Because you can bring a rough draft. If you have it done, that's even better. And if you want it professionally done, you can contact DMS Marketing. And that's the company on that brochure, or on that page, yes?
Yes.
So make a note of this. You can call and put Laura right here. Put that up there by the phone number, right here, everybody. Laura.
Oh, dear.
Okay, there's a phone number, says DMS Marketing. If you follow what I'm doing up here, you can easily see it. DMS Marketing,
Yeah.
put Laura. And then, so here's why they're in here. If you're a person that's really good with technology, take my sample, take your wisdom and your technology whiz, right? Create your own brochure, print it off on glossy paper, and you're good to go. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're like me, that every time I try to do something with technology, it never seems to work. And I end up spending hours, and my ears are hot, and I'm getting upset, and I'm getting stressed out, then it's not worth trying to save a few bucks. I would just get Laura to do it. She'll get you a PDF, and she'll print off 25 glossy ones. She'll get you the PDF, she'll get you the 25. And I got a special price for you, if you want it. So what's the price it says right now?
$249.
No, it says $199, isn't it?
Yeah, it says $249 crossed out
Yeah,
to one.
cross off the $199. So if you don't want to put up with all that technology stuff, cross that off and put $89.
89.
89, put that, okay? There. So you can call, you can just, now what you can do is you can say, Laura, I want a trifold brochure done, like what's on the page in Dwayne's class. And you would just send your pictures and your bio and all that stuff. She'll put it all together for you and get it all done. You don't have to worry about it. You can be out on a listing appointment while it's getting done. And for you, for me, that would be worth 89 bucks. So I don't want to get all, it's just so frustrating sometimes with this stuff. So there you go. If you want to do it yourself, you can do that as well. But here's the thing. How many of you would like to save 89 bucks? I would, yeah. Okay, now, if it's at the cost of me thinking I can do it and never doing it, do you know how much money you can make on your pre-list or a trifold brochure? Right now, everyone's thinking about how much it costs. Let's talk about how much you can make off it. How many listing appointments? If you keep doing what you're supposed to do in this course, how many listing appointments would you be going on each week?
3 at least.
3. Is that right?
Yeah.
And if you had a good year, 3 times, let's say 40 weeks, that's 120 appointments. You're going to get some people that cancel. So you're not going to be going on all 120, but let's say you go on 80. Okay, but you have 80 appointments. Out of the 80, there's going to be some people, now some people that canceled won't cancel just because of the pre-list. So I would say you'll probably do an extra 10 deals a year based on those appointments if you use pre-list. So who would like 10 more deals? 10. And how much do you make on a deal? So we're talking about an extra, let's say if we're only halfway, we're talking about an extra $40,000 a year. Who's my money person anyways for the phones?
Oh, me.
Yeah, because he's been on his phone most of the day there.
I do go back.
Just so you know, and it's on the table, so get $5 from him.
And he used it. So
And he used it too. So I didn't want to say nothing, but he's hiding behind the other guy with his phone. So is there anybody else using their phone? So let's just keep those out. They distract me, by the way, especially when I see somebody looking at their crotch all the time, you know? All right? So let's go back here. So let's see here. So we got a trifold brochure. I've told you what to do. Now is an extra 40 grand worth it for you?
Yes.
That's literally what it'll be. And when you do it, you'll notice the money. When you don't do it, you don't notice it, so you just think it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The cost of your brochure will be $89. So let's add some of the cost to the left there. So let's say $100 for your brochure. Write that down. And if you're going to send pre-list to, let's say 100 listing appointments, and how many buyer appointments do you think you'd have in a year once you're really set up? Maybe 30 or 40? You use this for buyers too, make a note of that. This isn't just sellers, this is also buyers. So you're gonna do about 120. What's it cost to mail it? Anybody know what a stamp is worth? No, a stamp's worth about $1, just so you know, okay? And an envelope, how much do number 10 envelopes cost? You know, $5 for 100, I don't know, but whatever, it's so minor.
Yeah.
Right, so you got what did I say, $1, so $1.50 plus $100, but it's $1.50, or let's say $1 times 100, so let's say $100 for postage and envelopes, and $100 for your brochures. Now, out of those 100, how many do you think we have to courier over because they want to see us tomorrow? Maybe 25%? What's it cost to send a courier over, because you should not do it? You know, you actually get them to come to the office, fill out a mixed dispatch thing, and then they say they'll drop it off within 4 hours. What do you think it costs?
$40.
Yeah, it should be less than that, but let's say we allow 20, 15 or 20, okay? So you allow 15 or 20, and you're doing 30 of them. So if we go 20 times 30, put down $600, okay? So your total investment per year is what, under $1,000?
Yeah.
To make how much? 40,000, and literally 90% of the agents will not use it. They will not invest $800 a year to make an extra 40 grand. They'll say, I want to save the 800. That is not an entrepreneur, business-minded person. Would you agree?
Yes.
It will make you more money, I guarantee it. And then 10 questions to ask a realtor before you hire on the back of the brochure. I forgot that one. But you're going to see that there's 10. I have one here. And some of them are the same, but look at the, anybody heard of CREA?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is, I think through Realtor.ca and through CREA, it says seller information. So when people are thinking of selling their house, they can go to NAR, National Association of Realtors, Canadian Real Estate Associations, any state or province, any board, and they can see what sellers should look for in a realtor. And CREA happen to have 10 questions to ask a realtor before you hire them. Okay, so, and I'll have this out here if you guys want to take a snapshot of it at the break, but it says here, CREA says, ask every realtor if they are licensed. That's number one. It's not the same questions I have on here. Some of them are the same, but I have more on here. So I got about 20 questions that you can use for yours, but just put 10, okay? Another one, it says, how many years of education experience do you have? Do you work full-time in real estate? Will any of your clients provide a reference? How many properties have you sold in this area? Are you experienced in selling my type of property? What is your marketing plan? What other services do you provide? Do you hold open houses? Dual agency is gone, so don't worry about that
That's
one.
right here.
Why should I hire you and not another brokerage? I think in my questions, it also says, do you own your own house? And a couple other things. You can probably barely read it, it's so small. But when you print off the regular brochure, you'll see all those questions. And you can take a look at these ones. And then when you create yours, pick 10. Now, these 10 questions, you want to make sure that you have a good answer for all of them. Okay, so if you are not licensed, don't put, are you licensed? If you don't own your own house yet, then don't put, do you own your own house? If you don't have an assistant, then don't put, do you have an assistant? So you want to make sure if they ask you your questions, you have good answers for all of them. Make sense? Because they're going to ask, if they're interviewing other realtors, they're going to ask the other realtors your questions. Isn't that cool? That's what that's for, okay? So let's go to the, so now that you know how to book your appointments and bona fide them from lesson 2, plus now how to sell yourself in advance, let's continue and talk about generating leads before lunch. Fair enough, gang?
Yeah.
So last week we talked about 5 proactive ways to generate leads. Did any of you do any of these this week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few of you, yeah. Which ones did you do?
Door knocking.
Door knock you did,
and
yeah.
warm calling.
And warm call?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did anybody kind of check out your community like I mentioned? That was number 1.
Yeah.
Just check to see if you can volunteer or what they're, go to their website and just see how you can get involved. And again, Toastmasters, business associations, all right? Then door knocking, we talked about a bit of a system. You want to keep track, are you keeping track? You get a little blank journal and you just write down the address if they're nice. You say that Bob and Sue were nice, that
And then I
little
cross if
dog
they don't
Skippy
open the door.
was awesome. And you said to them, I'll come by if you guys have any questions, here's my card. And then there may be somebody that, yeah, these people want to know they're going to sell in 6 months, so we got to go back and talk to them. And then there's some guy that you know, he looked like Freddy Krueger in the window or something, and you say, I'm not going back to that house. Then you go, oh yeah, it was Halloween. No, but anyways, just kidding. But you know, if they're not nice, you got to make a note. I don't want to go back there. But you keep track of everybody because it's your GeoFarm mirror. You're going to go back. You might even just say hi to people. How you doing? You know, here's a fridge magnet. There's a guy in Cloverdale, which is part of Surrey by Vancouver, where I teach a lot. And his name's Tony Z, and he's got a long last name, I don't have to say it, but his name's Tony Z, the Cloverdale specialist. He does exactly what I'm teaching you today. He is the top agent in Cloverdale, which is a huge area. He has bus benches, he sends out postcards, he door knocks, gives out fridge magnets, notepads, pens. This guy does like 100 deals a year by himself within the system. He's been doing it for like 15, 20 years in that same area. Everybody that lives there knows that the guy I go to is Tony Z. Right? Would you like to be in that same position?
Yes.
You have to do the same thing though. You know, some of you maybe earlier, maybe you didn't say it, but I said, were you willing to pay 10 bucks for a lead? Or are you willing to pay $300 a month for a bus bench? Are you willing to pay $2,000 for postcards? If the answer is no, then I can't help you build your business. Because you have to do that at some point. Some point.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you got to find a way to do this stuff for the rest of your career, and that's a little bit hard at some point. So you get involved in the community, you door knock, you do open houses. We're going to talk about that in a second here. And we got approached for sale by owners. Anybody sign up for Land Voice? Had a couple people on the in my coaching sign up for Land Voice. This week they had 12 leads. You probably had 15 in Calgary this week, right? So if you signed up for it, you would have got those leads, and you just call them. And we talked about that last week, right? So I would really take advantage of that. It's only, what was it, 40 bucks, something like that. Okay, so that's your FSBO leads. Today we'll talk about some expireds. And just to motivate you, really, if we can motivate you to warm call your sphere of contacts, you know, the 25 names, are you putting 25 names on a list each week? Again, if there's anybody that's slipping through the cracks here, in other words, not doing it, I got to go back to my main question. How many of you, or do you want to make a lot of money?
Yes.
And how fast do you want to make some money? When's the best time to make money? So if we have somebody that says, I want the money, but I don't want to do this stuff or that stuff, it doesn't work that way. If it did, you know how many people would be in the real estate business? How many people do you have on your board here? 5,600 or 6,500, something like that, 6,000?
Yeah.
If you just had to get a license and you could make 200,000 a year without doing nothing, how many do you think would be on the board?
Everyone.
Probably 1 million. Okay, when you don't do it right, it's really hard to do this business. When you do it right, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's so rewarding. It's almost fun. It is fun. It is. It's amazing. So you want to make sure, so you've got, how many names do you have on a list now according to the weekly activities? 50. So you want to make sure you call them. And you're going to call them with your prospecting track, and you're going to have a reason for calling them, because I gave you how many reasons last week?
10.
And I mentioned that you need to take that list and tape it to your desk.
Yes.
What are you supposed to do with it again?
Tape
Tape
it.
it.
Tape it. How many of you did it? You did everything, didn't you?
I literally did everything.
She did. And she's going to make a lot of money fast.
Better.
It's going to snowball effect. All of you need to do it, okay? So, pre-list we did. Okay, no, we're back on the proactive. So write this down. If you wouldn't do this for yourself just to get going and start building your business, ask yourself this. Would you do it for your clients? That. Would you do this for your clients? Would you do it? And if you would, then write it down. I would do this for my clients. So you may as well learn a lot about how to do it from lesson 2. So if you were following the course to its fullest, all the little tools I told you to put on your desk or on your wall, and laminate this and bring this to class and all that, you would have done all that. Sounds good?
Yeah.
And the next thing, you would have tried to do all the rest if you were a new person especially, or a person trying to continue to build their business. You would have contacted the community somehow, done some research. You would have door knocked for a couple of hours this week. You would have asked the broker if there's an open house you could do to just somebody else's listing if possible. You would have contacted FSBO. Excuse me. You would have even looked at expires and followed what I said last week a little bit, where you can still market an area, like door knock an area, and just say, are you thinking of selling, without bringing up the too much information. And you would have warm called the 25 names for sure. If you did all that, you're right on track. Even if you didn't get the results, but you'd be right on track. Isn't that amazing? So, let's wrap up the proactive ones by doing this one. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll try it one more time.
Ooh.
Wait till it comes up, eh? Okay, there we are. So we're gonna just give you 10 ingredients on how to do a successful open house. How many of you have ever done an open house? So there's some of you have been in real estate for a while, so you've done open houses. Some of you just got licensed recently, you haven't done an open house yet. Or who wants to do an open house? Anybody? Who wants to do an open house if they knew that they would sell it for sure? Okay, so that's the thing. A lot of times some realtors don't want to do an open house because they don't get any leads. Well, in fact, here's a question I want to ask you. What is the number one reason you do open houses?
Sell the house.
So we got a couple of different answers, right? And I think they both apply for the realtor, yes?
Yes.
But on our top producing declarations, what does the last one say?
I make my clients.
Make our client's number one goal our number one goal. So let me ask you this, what's the main reason the seller wants you to do an open house? Notice everybody had the same answer? So what does our answer have to be for the realtor? What's the main reason you're doing an open house? So I want you to do an open house this week to sell it.
Yes.
Yep.
And if it did sell, would you be upset about that because you didn't get any leads?
No.
No, but you're going to get leads anyways. So here, write this down. Okay, the number one reason you do an open house is to what? Sell it. And what's the number two reason you do open houses? We heard that answer. What was it? What kind of leads? What kind of leads do you want? Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd rather have the neighbor come over and say, we're thinking of selling our house. Can you come over and tell us what it's worth before I'd want a buyer that's going to take more time. But there are good buyers, don't get me wrong. But I think our second highest priority is, after trying to sell it, encourage offers, is to get seller leads, listing leads. That's what you just have to have that mindset in this business. Put all my tools, all the tools I mentioned to you in place, commit to the dialogue that we're talking about, and your focus is on listings. Listings are the way to the top. Because if you don't list, you won't last. And if anybody wants buyers, the number one way to get buyers is get a listing. Okay, so it's all there. In fact, if I didn't say it last week, let me say it this week. I don't mind saying it every week if I have to. But you want the solution to all the problems that will ever happen to you in real estate? Write this solution down. Here it is. Get a listing. So let me prove it to you. Get a listing. So you want to make more money? What should you do?
Get a listing.
You want to get more buyers? What should you do?
Get a listing.
You want to have more control of your career? What should you do?
Get a listing.
You want to make your spouse happy? What should you do?
Get a listing.
You want to make yourself happy? What should you do?
Get a listing.
It literally is. As a realtor, we can enjoy life so much more if we just get a listing. Now, I know there's more to it. We need to bona fide, so when we go, they're motivated and it's priced right and you get the right terms and the right length of time. We'll teach you all that. But honest gang, circle that what you wrote down. Circle it. That's the solution to all your problems as a realtor, in a realtor's life. Circle it. Is get a listing. That's all you need to focus on all the time. When you list a house, do an open house, try to sell it. And if you follow some of the ingredients I'm about to give you, you'll actually get a bunch of leads while you're trying to sell it. And even if you didn't sell it, the seller would understand that you did such a great job that there are other people you have to follow up with, but they'd also know that you were trying to sell it. And they would refer you like crazy, especially when you do sell their place. Like I used to see when they did the open house, and it isn't about the traffic, it's how you handle the open house. It's not the traffic. In fact, if 50 people showed up all at once, what do you think most realtors do?
Let them all in.
What do you think you should do? Stop. Follow what I'm about to say. If somebody's can't be patient, then let them go. Don't worry about it. Who's responsible for the house?
You are.
Not me. I'm
Realtor.
the trainer. Right? So, who's responsible?
Realtor.
The realtor. The realtor is. If somebody kicks a hole in the wall, steals some jewelry, I mean, I've heard so many strange things. I mean, I'll go into some stories I've been hearing lately and some of the things that I've been, I actually phoned Rika about something this week. And I'm not complaining about a realtor, you never use RECA for that, by the way, but it was about something in the industry that we need to continue to do better, and I'll talk about it a little bit later. But the type of people that are out there, I mean, the weirdest stuff, I hope I can say this the right way. The Calgary Herald had an article in it, and it was about, see, I've been a trainer for over 20 years, so it would have been more than 10 years ago, closer to 15 years ago, and somebody brought the article to my class, and I'd lost it somehow over the years. But it said that the police are looking for a fellow that continually goes to open houses, and he usually has some aggressive comments to say to female realtors, sexual comments and stuff like that. And he also goes into the drawers of the homeowners and takes their underwear.
Oh my God.
And this is an article, it's just such a sick thing.
Oh my.
And this was in the Calgary Herald. And the real estate board was watching out for this guy. So if he's gonna say that stuff and do that, given the opportunity, he could go further, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we gotta make sure that it's not only about the safety of us, but also the content of the house.
Right.
So, you know, there's people, realtors that meet people at properties and they're risking something happening. That's one of the things I meant that I did talk about with the real estate council. And then there are people that come to open houses that won't identify themselves. You should not allow them in. You make a commitment to that for yourself. If they won't say who they are and they won't be reasonable, then don't let them in. So if you feel you can do that, turn to the person beside you and say, I can do that.
I can do that.
I can do that. Okay? We need to be really professional here. No commission, like thinking, oh, I'm going to lose a commission. Oh, there might be a commissioner. None of that. That feeling at all is worth something really strange or horrific happening to anybody. Am I right or right?
Right.
Right, okay. So, back on this here, 3 objectives. We want to sell the house if possible. And if we do or don't, we still want to try to attract leads. The best leads would be listing leads. And of course, the other leads, sure, we'll take them if they're really good buyers, right? Some buyer leads, yes? That's okay. And you should only do an open house on a property that's saleable, not an overpriced property, especially if you have a choice. Now, somebody might say, well, you know, you're brand new and you want to do an open house. I got a good house over here. It's been on the market for a while, so you're going to have to advertise to get some traffic there. You know, because if there's a home with a sign in front of it for 3, 4, 5 months, the public thinks there's something wrong with it. Agreed?
Yeah.
So it's better if it's a brand new listing, it's your own listing, it's priced right. I did one time, I was taught, what I'm teaching you, I was taught this too. It's just a long time ago. But I remember going on a listing appointment and we got it priced. You ever had this feeling, Peter, where you price it and you go, this thing's gone? It's like, this price is perfect. Like we even went a little lower just to see if we can get more interest. And they were fine with it because they don't have a mortgage on it. And it's, you know, it's one of those ones. Just if this thing's, and I just looked at the client. It was a Tuesday at 4 o'clock. When are most open houses done?
Weekends.
Evenings and weekends,
Yeah.
right? Mostly weekends though, right? Tuesday at 4 o'clock. I'm thinking, this thing's gone, right? It says, do you mind if I put, and I had my